Hey, hi, good morning and welcome to another edition of the Patriot Radio News Hour on this beautiful third day in December 2019 in the year of our Lord. Everybody's post-Thanksgiving fatness is starting to burn off. The tryptophan is starting to wear out, and you got to get out there and get shopping. This show's brought to you by the Patriot Trading Group. If you can get some stocking stuffers here as well, call 1-800-951-0592 and add to your portfolio, or just get started if you've never done it. The lovely Wendy, who's been working with customers here for a quarter century, will be more than happy to take the time with you and get you educated. You can also head out on the World Wide Web, the information superhighway, at allamericangold.com, which is updated daily with news and views to comfort the disturbed and disturb the comfortable. It's got prices, news articles, opinions, and let's face it, everybody's entitled to our opinion. I'm joined with the owner of Patriot Trading Group. He's actually going to be my guest. I'm Hamburger Helper. I only get to do this show Tuesdays and Thursdays, but I'm the only one in the studio in Phoenix this morning because Joe Jaquint is making all that noise. Can you hear that noise? That's Joe in the studio in Colorado at the mothership in KHNC. Good morning, Double. How are you doing?
Hey, Eric, how you doing? Great to be here in the Front Range. Believe it or not, I actually am catching the good weather. It's totally freezing here, but the sun's out. Some of the snow is melting. I haven't fallen on any ice yet, so far, a total success.
Yeah, well, the day's not over, is it?
Nope. Of course, I'm up here. We are closing on the radio station in a little less than 2 hours from now. We're going to be around 11 o'clock. We'll be closing on the radio station, making it official. KHNC will be under new ownership after 11 o'clock today.
Well, I'll tell you, it's been a long climb to get this done. You know, doing radio stations.
I was telling everybody yesterday when I was up here, I actually got on Brian and Jason's show. I guarantee you, because you're absolutely right, it's been a long climb, a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, and is it going to happen? Is it not going to happen? All of those things. I'm pretty sure once we sign on the dotted line, dot the I's, cross the T's. I'm definitely going to be sick and probably be out of commission for a good week and a half because my body's not going to know how to react with all the stress and anxiety of is it going to happen or not being gone. So I'm sure. I'm just letting you know, Eric. Yeah, plan on filling in for me for at least a week.
Well, I'll tell you, it's been quite a transition. It's quite an undertaking. This is why corporations, the big corporations, iHeart and Westwood, and these radio stations are being completely dominated and overrun by corporate America. And the American Freedom Network has always been a beacon. It's been a beacon of, quote unquote alternative programming, but programming that fills a need for things that a lot of questions that people have of things that are happening in this country, and to get the real news out without fear of retribution of corporate America. I mean, you look at a lot of these talk show hosts, how many of them are gone by saying the wrong thing or attacking Big Pharma or just, just things that have become so politically correct in this society that the American Freedom Network has been able to withstand the blows. I did my first interview, I believe, in 1993. I mean, think about how far back that goes. That's, 26, almost 27 years ago. And the station has made it through. Patriot's been a sponsor. I think we became an official sponsor of the American Freedom Network in 1996. So it's only fitting that Patriot, which I always said when I was running this company, that the American Freedom Network would not go dark on my watch. We've kind of taken it to the next level. I don't know. I guess we can announce this is not official yet. Joe will be signing the paperwork here in a bit, but the American Freedom Network now is owned by a couple of people, and there'll be new station direction, station manager, general manager. Should we announce who that is, Joe, or not? So,
you know what? Let's do it.
Well, that would be me.
we needed like a drum roll. I need a drum roll.
I know. So, well, I'm not a lot for fanfare. I'm just a simple guy. So I am one of the owners now, partner with Joe of the American Freedom Network. How about that? I mean, it's a weird feeling. It's an interesting thing to say. Joe's up there. The American Freedom Network is now owned by Excursion Broadcasting, and that's a company that Joe and I started together. Our mission is to perpetuate the message, to keep the American Freedom Network as much as we can intact. We feel that, for the original mission of Don Wiedemann, God rest his soul, and Dr. Norm Resnick, as rest his soul as well, when all this started, I want to hang on to a semblance of that. Of course, we live in a different age and a different time that, it's without money. Without money, the station doesn't stay afloat, and it's been able to do that. I mean, Patriot Trading Group had matched donations. I can't tell you the hundreds of thousands of dollars that we've sent back, that we've put back where we found it to help the network keep going. And we have no intentions of changing that in any way, shape, or form, but I am honored to be a part of something that I've been with for a quarter century. You're listening to Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back after these messages. You're listening to the American Freedom Network, Patriot Radio News Hour. It's a beautiful day to be alive. Joe Jaquin's in Colorado. We got him on the phone, working on the telecommuting part. We're getting a little bit of a feedback here. We're still working on the technology of the radio station, but it has been updated. That's one of the things that took so long. Joe has brought everything up to you call it the 21st, 22nd century now. Everything's online, working on satellites. The American Freedom Network, when I first started, it had a slew of employees. I mean, it had a bevy of salespeople. There was a lot of activity. And, we're going to try to hang on to some of the old, but obviously we're going to have to bring in some of the new. I mean, the station has been listener supported, and it also has had independent advertising, which we're going to try to keep that as best as we can. We're going to be changing some programming. We're going to be bringing in some syndicated programming ultimately, which will attract some advertisers, and we're hoping. And hopefully you wonderful people will keep supporting the station. You can start today. You can stop by. You can make a donation to KHNC if you want to come on in to the radio station. Joe's up there and say hi this afternoon. I'll be up there on and off throughout the year coming up. KHNC, add this. I'll give you the new address. There's a new P.O. box. If you want to drop one in the mail or drop a note, it'd be KHNC. P.O. Box 104, Johnstown, Colorado, 80534. Again, KHNC, P.O. Box 104, Johnstown, Colorado, 80534. Your donations and support will be greatly appreciated. We're planning on bringing back, as in the beginning, more events. More station events. We used to show movies, 50 caliber shoots, speakers. We rented out, we've rented out halls before. I mean, there's, it's going back quarter century, and hopefully we're going to be able to bring that back and to get the people more involved, to try to hang on to a semblance of what was once yesterday. I mean, the beacon that is KHNC that is still flashing out there. Let's face it, the inertia against the conservative lifestyle, God, country, family is literally being decimated. And that's something that I was always proud to be a part of. And if you are too, then maybe you can put your money where our mouth is and make out a check to KHNC. Any donation would be appreciated. You can mail it to P.O. Box 104 or Johnstown, Colorado, 80534, which, again, we'll get that up on the website of 1360 KHNC. We're going to put a donate button in as well if you want to participate online. Coming up in a week or two, technologically speaking, we are up and running. It just takes a while to get everything into place. So, Joe, you're pounding it. I mean, you're on the telephone lines, you're on the old landlines, but you are booming in down here. So let's get into a little bit.
That's fantastic. And just real quick, too, we'll be able to take credit cards sometime next week. We should have that up and running as well. And as Eric said, we'll have the P.O. Box on the website. That'll probably be up tomorrow, Thursday at the latest, the P.O. Box 104. Then we'll be taking your credit cards as well, Visa, MasterCard, Discover, American Express. That'll happen probably next week. Or as Eric said, you can always stop by the station and make a donation that way as well here at 2 South Parish here in Johnstown. And just really excited to reiterate what Eric said, blending that old with the new. As we speak right now, I have our radio engineer, Jim, who has been helping us almost now for the last year. He's actually in here right as we speak, wiring up some more things. We just repaired a little over a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. We repaired the satellite dish. Now our engineer, he's coming in and getting the wiring all set up, and we got some more programming coming in addition to the programming that you guys all love. We're going to be adding some other programming as well, some syndicated programming that I think is just going to take us right over the top. And I'm just super excited. Like Eric said, we got events that we're working on, all kinds of different things. We're going to have a much bigger presence up here. I'll be up here a lot more. Eric's going to be up here. Obviously, Jason and Brian are going to continue to do what they've been doing. And we're just starting to build the team and just excited for the future.
I got to tell you, it's a weird feeling to have the keys to the kingdom. I've been doing radio for most of my adult life, and to be able to, wander around the lineup, catch can. I'm kind of looking forward to that. You never know when you're going to hear me.
You said it the other day. Hey, I own the place. I can get on the air whenever I want.
It's pretty fun to think about. So the people, though, that I've met and that are still there, I mean, how many people go back to the first days? I mean, even ahead of me. I mean, 25. I think the station opened in 92 or 93. I forget. So that's how far back this goes. And let me tell you what's different about the stations. There's very few of these left. I mean, it's going to take all our resources, everything that we have, all the support we can get, any ideas that we can come up to make this go. I mean, obviously AM radio's been decimated, and they did it themselves because, the programming or trying to appease everybody is just basically corporate America has just shut them down. And, ultimately we're not going to have a conservative president forever. The left's going to take over. They're going to try to silence all of this. And if this goes away, could you imagine living in a world where there's no opinion allowed, no conservative opinion allowed? Because I don't want anybody to be confused about what the ultimate goal is of the far left, and that is they just don't want to not hear us. They want to get rid of us. So I fully intend on my last days on earth here, with my last breath, to be fighting to keep this network going and to keep the message out, not just for us, but for our children and grandchildren, because I've learned as much as I've ever taught here or ever espoused on from you people, and it's a continuing, ongoing effort. So without the wonderful people that have supported this network and now their families, their children, I mean, how many of you people are adults that 20, 25 years ago I gave you a silver dollar? That this is how far back this thing goes. And I'm proud to be a part of it, and I'm proud to take my financial help that I could help to get the station closed and put my money back in here, because I plan to support it, and I hope you do too. And obviously some of the changes that will be made are not going to please everybody, and that's not our goal. Our goal is to do what's best for the message and for the network. And as long as the American Freedom Network can move forward and keep the lights on and not go dark in this day and age is going to be a huge accomplishment in my book. And obviously, I've always been humbled by you people. I've said it on the air. Your generosity, your intelligence, your wit, your humor, and you're all still out there. And Joe, you've done a great job the last year bringing this thing back, getting it up to the 21st century. I mean, ultimately to update all the equipment is all that it took. And that's a huge undertaking with technology. The transmitter's running at 10,000 watts or close to it. People are calling that you haven't heard from in years. The station's back up and running, and we plan to keep it that way. And we need your help. So if you can stop by or mail a check to KHNC, P.O. Box 104, Johnstown, Colorado, 80534, and help us keep this going, man. You'll be if your grandchildren can hear this, you can say, hey, I helped do that. So
that's exactly
anyway.
Right. And also, Eric, not to cut you off, we're looking for some volunteers. If you're a musician, if you know how to do voiceovers, or maybe you can imitate voices like Trump or Clinton, things of that nature, we'd love if you wanted to volunteer and help us. We need to make new station identifications. We need voiceovers for commercials. We need all that stuff. If maybe you got a little home studio at your house, or you're handy in that way and you want to help us out, reach out to us, 970-587-5003, and we'll get your contact information, because we do need some help there. So there's another way you can give back too. If you have a certain skill set like that, let us know, and we'll be in touch.
That's a good way of putting it. We do need, well, obviously, I like the idea of some musicians. We'd like to do some, kind of like Joe and I were talking about it, kind of like some of the old spots from the 50s or 60s that had like the Andrews sisters singing out the call letters. I got a lot of good ideas. Joe does too. We're looking forward to putting these forth. But what makes this different, you can already tell if you're just driving by and you're hearing this for the first time. You can't hear the iHeart executives sitting in a boardroom talking about programming. All right, you're not going to hear anything on the air. You're not going to hear any of the syndicated broadcasts and the conglomerates, the media conglomerates talking about the direction of any particular radio station. You're just not going to hear it, and that's what's pretty special about this. This may be the last station in America that does this, and this is not a small radio station. This station is a flamethrower. So if you're thinking about advertising, I mean, the demographics from Denver at 10,000 watts, it covers the Front Range. Goes down through Denver, I think even south of Denver, out Castle Rock area. It heads out to Nebraska and up into Wyoming. And I think our demographics, and don't quote me on this, I will know the answer, the population demographic is over 3 million. So, I mean, this is correct. We're not talking about some little station here. So ultimately, the one thing we have to do is the station has to get ratings. And once we get ratings, ultimately the everything else will take care of itself. So how do you rate me? How do you rate me? How do you think I'm doing today? So,
well, you bring up another great point. So I've been here for about 24 hours now, and I've been having the radio on. I've been driving all over the place, getting things done, listening to different stations, and this is happening in every town, every big city in the country, where all of these big conglomerates now, all of a sudden, you click on one station and you hear, whether it's Limbaugh or Hannity or some other, syndicated guy, and then all of a sudden you click on another station and they're playing the exact same thing, right? And and down the dial, you've got the same company owning 3, 4, 5, 6 different stations in a market, and instead of giving you 6 different options, they're only giving you one. You go to this channel, it's the same thing. You click to the next channel, they're playing the exact same programming all over the dial. And this is, like Eric said, an independent like this is a dying breed. There's not very many of them in the country. Forget about just in Colorado. It may be the only one. And you just see it happening little by little, where they're just getting gobbled up and gobbled up and gobbled up, and pretty soon you won't get the message at all. I mean, that's the end game.
I'm proud to be a part of this, and who knows where it's going to go. I mean, ultimately, we've already looked at every media outlet. We've talked to just about everybody. This has been a long-going process, and ultimately, if you turn this station on and all the broadcasts are in Spanish, you'll know we failed. So don't let that happen, okay? Let's don't let that happen. Let's get this going and keep it going, and I'm really looking forward to it. And I know you wonderful people will open up your hearts, your minds, and help us out here. And we'll take this forward into the years to come. Ultimately, I mean, they don't like it, they hate it. Look at the president. The president says today at the well, we'll talk about that when we get back. We'll do a little business news as well. We'll do another segment with Joe, and then we'll let him go. And then I'll finish up with business news. Patriot Radio News Hour, kind of a weird day on this December 3rd, 2019. We'll be back.
This is the Phyllis Schlafly Report, a daily commentary continuing the conservative pro-family legacy of Phyllis Schlafly. Now the president of Phyllis Schlafly Eagles, Ed Martin.
Once upon a time, professional sports were popular entertainment free of political correctness. Fans and players could be themselves and say whatever they liked. Rivals were friendly and communities came together to cheer on their teams. Energetic basketball stars like Dennis Rodman spoke their mind on and off the court, and fans loved it. All that changed when Nike stepped in. Nike is a liberal corporation based in Oregon, but now it looks like they essentially took over the National Basketball Association across America. The $8 billion business of the NBA is now completely beholden to the $40 billion business of Nike. Nike makes sports shoes, but don't be fooled into thinking that's all they do. They are so well connected that they became one of 30 companies invited to join the prestigious Dow Jones average on the stock market. Nike also isn't afraid to jump into politics when it suits their interests. They heavily promoted the Trans-Pacific Partnership, the TPP, even though it was horrible for American interests. They even got Barack Obama and Joe Biden to line up in support. Obama didn't even try to hide the fact that Nike was why he was supporting TPP. He even went to Nike headquarters to announce his support of TPP. Then Donald Trump won the presidential election by campaigning against TPP and other phony trade deals. He wouldn't be bought out by Nike, but their influence over the NBA is still a big problem for America. Fortunately, Jason Whitlock of the Fox Sports program Speak for Yourself is speaking out against Nike's manipulation of the NBA to favor China. Whitlock explained, this is about a president that won't cooperate with what Nike wants done. Nike is using the NBA and its leverage over the NBA to go after this guy because they disagree with him about his policies as it relates to trade in China. It's very simple. Whitlock is right to call it this attack on American sovereignty. This whole thing stinks worse than a pair of old Nike gym shoes. Nike shouldn't be able to manipulate our politicians or our sports stars just so they can use cheap Chinese labor to make their overpriced footwear. I'm glad we have a president who won't be beholden to these corrupt interests.
This has been the Phyllis Schlafly Report from Phyllis Schlafly Eagles. For the U.S. economy to flourish, free enterprise needs to be rewarded. Competition and capitalism need to be encouraged. At phyllisschlafly.com, you'll find alerts and strategies for strengthening our economy and standing against socialism. That's phyllisschlafly.com. Thanks for listening, and join us again next time for the Phyllis Schlafly Report.
Appreciate you taking time out of your busy lives to allow me into it. It's kind of a weird show, not getting a lot of business news done here today, which we should, because last time I looked, the Dow was down 400. Markets are moving all around today as finish up the year. It's just crazy time we live in. Just absolute insanity plus tax. I've got Joe Jaquint, the owner of Patriot Trading Group, on the line at the mothership, the new radio station, the new KHNC 1360. Up there, I can hear them blasting away. What are you doing up there? So,
we're trying to get more business done. I'm just how it is now in everybody's world today. You got to have more than one job, right? So here, trying to do two jobs at once, all at the same time. There's a lot going on, a lot of activity. Jason's feeding me information, and we got to sign this contract, and then you got the meeting with this guy, and then this has to be done, and then you got to overnight this, and we need to get this notarized, and we got to set this up. So making progress. We're talking about the credit card machine as well for you guys that want to donate that way. We're going to be all set up with that here next week at the very least. It's something that it's possible that we could be up and running with that by Friday. If not, by this time next week, for sure, we'll have that up and running as well. And as Eric said, Dow's down about 450 points. I was down 250 points yesterday. Gold's up almost $20 right now on, the news that I had already told you about for the last 2 years. There's no trade deal. The president, this morning saying, hey,Ll wait till the election. In a sense, this is where we're at, right? I think the president's letting China know, hey, I've given you my best offer, right? And you're not getting anything else, so you better sign this deal before the 15th, because if you don't, more tariffs are coming in, and I'm going to win again, and, we'll wait for you.
Well, it's amazing. The front page of the Wall Street Journal saying that very thing. Of course, hard to find news that isn't anti-Trump slanted, but they're kind of hacking at him. He said yesterday that he'd raise tariffs on steel and aluminum imports from Brazil and Argentina, which surprised financial markets, and that's opening a new front in the global trade war. These people have just been dumping this stuff over here in these countries forever. And, I mean, it decimated entire industries in America, and he's just trying to put the genie back in the bottle. Do you believe, Joe, they want to fight him on that?
It's incredible. You just bringing up Brazil and Argentina, we put the tariffs on the steel and the aluminum to stop all the dumping. They cleaned it up, so we cut it back. And then as soon as we cut it back, they're up to their old tricks again. And the president's like, okay, that's it. We're putting them back on. Same thing with the French today, threatening 100% tariffs on the French because they want to tax all of our companies over there. And we got a guy that's fighting for the American people. And it's amazing how many people are fighting this and don't want this to be the case. And they want to all be good globalists and good socialists. And it blows my mind that a president could be sticking up for this country and for the people of this country, and for the media to be bashing him it makes no sense. It really doesn't.
I saw that.
I
saw that thing on France, the 2.4 billion of French imports into this country. What do we say? Are people really drinking that much champagne?
Well, it's the wine and the cheeses, right?
That's right. So, of course, I had heard, I think, is it Chrysler or Jeep wants to merge with Peugeot, the French automaker? Poor Chrysler, it's just been pounded. It's merged with everybody throughout the years. But I had heard, I think somehow they're going to do something with Peugeot. Peugeot, it's a French word. It means push the car. They used to sell them in this country, They were horrible cars. So, I don't know. So, you never know. But anyway, 2.4 billion of French imports. So, we do drink a lot of wine and cheese. What a time for that to come in heading into the holidays. So, Trump also today criticized Democrats at the opening of NATO. You gotta give this president credit. You talk about someone that stays on message, has not wavered, has not waffled. Just stays on message. So he's at NATO. He opens up the NATO leaders meeting today. Started out with the impeachment, pushed by the Democrats as unpatriotic and a bad thing for our country. It is true, too. I mean, it's the most ridiculous thing. Do you realize with their fake hearings that they're going to start tomorrow again, start up again on Wednesday, that they have to bring in scholars? They have to bring in people that can outline why what he did is a crime. Now, if somebody shoots somebody and you go to court, you don't need a scholar to come on and do an hour and a half rendition on to why it's a crime. You know it's a crime. Somebody robbed somebody. So now the phone call and the quid pro quo or bribery or whatever they call it is going to be on national TV by intellectuals that are going to explain to the American public why it's a crime. The American public does not need that to be explained to them. Everybody knew that having sex with an intern in the Oval Office was not good, okay? That's not good, all right? You don't need anybody to come on and explain to you why that isn't good. President Nixon, okay, he didn't have intellectuals coming on explaining why taping and bugging and bribing and threatening people and graft was illegal. They knew it was illegal. They didn't need to have it explained. And that's what's so ridiculous about what's happening. That, I look at it, I don't know how you feel, but I look at it and I've went and I listened. I read the transcript. I've read the phone call a couple of times. It's not there. The smoking gun's not there, in my opinion. And what he says, you've got an investigation. You got a vice president. You got a son. There was an investigation. The vice president got the investigation quashed, and the president inquires about it. Pretty normal, if you ask me. Hey, how's that investigation going? That's almost a direct quote. What happened there? What happened with that? Why'd that get smashed? Oh, because the vice president, they didn't answer, but they don't give you that.
Right,
because the vice president.
And because they did the same thing is Biden told the Ukrainians, hey, get rid of this guy that's trying to investigate me, or we're not going to give you the aid money. That's really what happened. And that's what the president was trying to uncover. And now they're, just, again, like you said, to get these scholars to have to come out and try to explain it, because the American people, we're not dumb. Right?
No, they're not dumb. So
the realities are the crime that was committed by the Biden, period, and not by the president. And the fact that the president's trying to bring it to light's got them all scurrying about. No one wants to talk about what it was that the Bidens did. No one wants to bring it up, and they're trying to go after the president for things that, let's face it, when you give countries money, you use it as leverage.
You're listening to Eric Cederstrom, sitting in here helping out Joe on Tuesdays and Thursdays, the Patriot Radio News Hour. I am now president and general manager of KHNC 1360 AM. Very proud of that. Looking forward to perpetuate the mission of that great network up there in Colorado. I plan on spending a lot of time up there and getting to know everybody again. It's been a long, long time. So retired at 55, unretired at 60. So don't ever do it, by the way. When you retire early, you got to look for things to do, So, and the people that you hang out with on the weekends that still have jobs, you can't call them on Tuesday mornings to play golf. They're like, well, I'm at work. So it's not, I'll never retire. This is it. So I'm looking forward to throwing my 2 cents worth in with this network. I'll probably pick up some steady radio time as well. Look forward to working with all the great businesses. We're going to take our web presence and try to quadruple it, looking for national advertisers and people that really want to sponsor this. And let's face it, we're going to need to make this message as strong as we can if we think we're going to survive, because when the liberals take over, and ultimately they will, it's much easier to recruit the left by giving things away as you import people who have nothing. If you have nothing, you'll take anything. And we talked about this, and I've talked about it many times, and that as people work hard and they, it's just American way. We're still Americans here in this country. You get here, people still want to prosper. Do you really need Elizabeth Warren to tax the rich and give everything to the poor, and then ultimately socialists that'll just make everybody equal? I mean, does you really think that country's going to sit for this? They may. They may, because the numbers are so great that they've brought in that you may see it. And once it comes in, it's impossible to get rid of. So I'm going to do my best to fight against it because I still see it even in my own families. I see my young son-in-law, Pinkerton Pool and Landscaping here in Phoenix. He's worked hard now. He's in his third or I think fourth year of business, and he's starting to get prosperous. But he's up at 5 a.m. His trailers leave. I live on a couple acres up north. His trailers head out, and he was just a typical kid. They were, I don't, what do I care about higher taxes? I'm struggling. I got nothing. I'm newly married. Is it such a bad deal that they're going to give me money and health care and blah, blah? And now, as he's little by little, as he's watched his company grow, and he's built it. He's built hard. The kid's worked hard at it. And he's starting to get larger jobs. And, he's got to bring on more people. And now, he's getting hit with these big tax bills, and I'm watching it. This is how you mint conservatives. You mint conservatives through prosperity. So without prosperity, there's no freedom in this country. You just can't have it. You can't have it. So that people have to be handed everything. Ultimately, for the government to give you something, they have to take it from somebody else. So where we're heading and where we're at the precipice that this country could go either way. And if it goes into socialism, which, is, believe it or not, you got an entire Democratic Party running on it. Ultimately, they think they're going to bring in Bloomberg here that can, be more moderate. Joe Biden, he's the perfect politician. I mean, perfect. I mean, let's face it. The guy couldn't, pass a basic ASVAB test to be a police officer. Okay, he couldn't pass it. But he looks good. He's got a good smile, lots of dental work. And he's got it down. Look at every picture. He's got that big toothy grin, big, perfect political smile, and he's dumb. He's dumb. He's not real smart. That's who you want as president. That's what the trilateralists, the Illuminati, I know, dusting them off. We're going way back. The government you don't see that really runs it, that's the guy they want. I mean, the last one, really, I want you to think bank bailouts and think W. Bush. All right, look at what they were able to get done. And this is why they don't like Trump, because Trump won't bail out Bank of America. Trump's not going to sit in a hearing where General Motors, Chrysler, and Ford take private jets to fly to a meeting to get handed out trillions of dollars to get bailed out in their private airplanes. Trump won't do it. So when you get these crashes, you think they happen by accident? You think machines can't tell you what the stock market's going to do? You think they don't know that they can collapse this equity market and then come on in and buy your real estate, buy your assets, buy everything that you've worked for your whole life, you Americans, and take it from you for pennies on the dollar? They can. But they need a president to help them, because ultimately, as they're doing it, they want to get paid for doing this. So the government you don't see, Trump won't do it. He won't do it. He won't bail them out. So they crash it. They know it. They want him out of there. The powers that be want him out. And they not only want him out, they want to silence the right. They've just had enough of us. I mean, we're like a mosquito. How he could even get elected, nobody was more surprised, believe me, than them. Than the elitist government, the deep state. The people who really have run things, have run the swamp. The people who really run Bartertown were more shocked than anybody. They didn't think they actually would have had to go in and start pressing buttons because they thought the American public was going to vote for Hillary, that they have done such a good job of selling the deal to us. They were stunned. They want him out. They want to discredit him. The only way they can do it is discredit him and impeach him. Trump wants to bring it on. Trump's not going to go testify. He's not going in there Wednesday, and I don't blame him, because he can't call his own witnesses. So just go ahead and get it over with and go, and let's see what happens. So tomorrow they're going to explain to the American public why he committed a crime. If you have to have that done, you didn't commit one in my book. You need to be talked down to and condescended to, because we're all too stupid to figure out if it's really a crime or not. I know one when I see one. So anyway, here we are. Still running away. I'm a quarter century later. I'm still here, strong as ever. And I'm glad to be part of all this. Look forward to working with all you wonderful people. Life is good, isn't it? course, again, they say be careful what you wish for. You just might get it. Oh, coming back on the other side, we're heading into the final break. This show is sole and separate from the radio station. This is the Patriot Radio News Hour. Brought to you by the Patriot Trading Group. You can reach them at 1-800-951-0592. Final segment coming up. I'm Eric Cedarstrom. Stay with me if you can take it. Final segment, Patriot Radio News Hour. I'm Eric Cedarstrom, President General Manager, 1360 KHNC. People calling in here want to make a donation. You want to put it on a credit card, call Jason at the station, area code 970-587-5003. We really appreciate it. Thank you. People supporting the message, support it going. You're going to be happy which way the station goes. I'm going to do my best. We're going to get this thing running on all 8 cylinders, and believe it or not, yes, it's going to be American-made. American-made 8 cylinders. Have a lot of things planned. Hopefully be able to get everything put forth and get going and get this going. Of course, it's Christmas time. Nothing ever works out the way you want it to. So I'm not up there because Joe's taking care of everything that I don't want to do. So he's got to get all the utilities and everything signed, all the paperwork done, get all the lights switched around, just get all that stuff. Oh, contract signed and all that. And when we do all that, I look forward to spending some time doing some live radio from the station. Ultimately, my wife was worried that we're going to end up living in Colorado. But let's face it, there's worse things than being up there on the Front Range with you wonderful people. So, just finishing up, we were talking about basically the socioeconomic destruction of America and how the president has tried to single-handedly, and it sure feels like that. I mean, the people have got in his camp. When I made a donation to make America great again, I didn't send it to the Republican Party. I didn't do it. I sent it to Donald Trump. I'm not a beacon or a member or a line with the Republican Party. For the most part, I hate all of them, which I think a lot of you people feel the same way. But the president didn't have a choice. I mean, he had to align with one party or another. Being independent wouldn't get it done, and he forced the Republicans to choose a side. So a lot of them have, and I think a lot of them are still going to be in his corner. I think ultimately, if they had their way, they'd love to have the swamp being run again by the abominable, the swamp monster. They just need one at president that hands out all the money to everybody. That's all they want. So we'll have to pray for the President of the United States. I mean, what he's facing is massive, massive legislation that they're throwing at him. He's going to have to stand up. He's going to have to state his case. He's going to have to call witnesses for this to be legitimized in my eyes. And I think in a lot of your eyes as well. So that's about all we can do. Joe signed off here. He's got to get up and get things done. We're going to work on programming. Obviously, is going to get moved around. Things are going to get changed. Change, I don't like change. I'm not a guy who likes change. Usually it never changes for the good. So being that as it may, that we're going to try to change everything for the good. And your 2 cents worth will be greatly appreciated, not only in donations, but your thoughts, any help or anything. We want this to be listener supported. We want the listeners to have a say in how things are going to go here. And, it kind of always was that way. And you can't please everybody. Ultimately, you can't be happy with everything. But if we strive and everybody's hearts are in the right place to do the right thing, and we learn from you people every day, that I think we can't miss. We just can't miss. And I'm proud to be a part of it. So you can reach the radio station in Colorado at 970-587-5003. If you want to put a donation on a credit card, stop by today if you're local. If you're on the Front Range, say hi to Joe. Or you can drop a check in the mail to P.O. Box 104, Johnstown, Colorado, 80534. I'm Eric Cedarstrom. I don't know what's going to happen next. I couldn't tell you, but stay tuned. You'll have to listen. God bless everybody, and thank you so much.